When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliatt with the Sister Sauce.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sister Sauce. I'm Priscilla, and there's my gorgeous sister Tina over there. Say hi,
Hello,
Tina.
everybody.
This is episode 28. Whoop,
Yeah,
whoop.
28.
One more every week. It keeps adding up.
Yeah.
What you up to, Tina?
Well, this weekend is sort of a celebration of all the talented young people in our family. Last night, AJ and I went to an exhibit for Olivia for her senior project and got to see her artwork on display and hear really nice comments from her professors and saw some people really intrigued by her concept, and that just tickled me pink. So that's always nice. And tonight, as you know, we are going to Clover Showcase. And so
Mhm.
that is an awesome event. And then tomorrow night, our niece Tatum is in a play, and we're going to see Tatum. So, yay,
Yay.
hooray for talented young people. And then we just saw a video of Renee's performance,
Yeah,
the symphony. So that was really wonderful.
all these artsy kids.
I'm telling you,
They're
I'm
all
just
performing.
bursting with pride.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. You got any hot sauce today?
I do,
Spicy?
today we're talking about heroes, superheroes. I think Sunday is National Superhero Day. And so today we're going to be talking in our meat sauce about real life heroes. And my hot sauce has a little something to do with that. So I know you're going to get the reference that I'm talking about, but I'll share with our listeners. You guys all know that Priscilla and I are huge romantic comedy buffs. And one of our favorites is While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock, and all about her rescuing. Sandra Bullock rescues Peter, a gentleman who has fallen on the tracks after being attacked and mugged, and he's fallen on the subway tracks, and she rescues him and pulls him off, and he's in a coma. And when he wakes up and he's talking to her, he says, "You're a hero." And she tells him, "No, you're a hero too. Look at what you did. You saved those birds or whatever." And he says, "Oh, that wasn't heroic." And she said, "You are a hero." And she goes on to say, "You give up your seat every day in the train." And he says, "Well, but that's not heroic." And she said, "It is to the person who sits in."
Hmm.
And so that's my hot sauce for today. It's hot in that it's a real good tip for you to remember that every little thing you can do that impacts another person in some way makes you a hero. And
Nice.
yeah, I spoke at a graduation one time, and coincidentally, I did not plan for this, but apparently the young lady that was asked to sing at the graduation chose the song Hero by Whitney Houston.
Oh,
And it was so
yeah.
appropriate because my speech was all about it was a medical type of program that these students were graduating from. And so my whole speech was about how every interaction with a patient or a family member gave them an opportunity to be a hero to that family. And so just remember that no matter what your job is or what your role in life is, what you do on a daily basis can make you a hero or not. And it'd be nice if everybody chose to be heroes.
Mhm. Yay. Yay for heroes.
Yeah, I just thought I love that movie, and I love that part of the movie because it's so true. What
Mhm.
the heroism is not your action so much, but what the receiver got out of it.
Mm. Yeah. We
But
could be
now we get to
heroes.
talk. I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying we could be heroes.
Yes.
We can't
I'll
be
be a hero.
we can't be mutant heroes, but you know, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of them. I don't know why. Maybe because I have a
We're more like
13-year-old.
Powerpuff Girls. Maybe not, but
We are sugar and spice and everything nice.
there you go. All
Yeah.
right. I like that. But today we're going to be
And
talking.
chemical X.
Today we're going to be talking about some real life heroes that were recognized last year by Reader's Digest in a series that they did. And we wanted to share their stories with you, and we hope they inspire you. I'll start with the first one, Priscilla.
Huh?
So Austin Perrine, I hope I'm saying his name right, was 4 years old when his dad and he drove past a homeless shelter. And he, I guess, felt bad because he saw that people were suffering and sad, and he wanted to do something to put a smile on their faces. So this precious kid took his allowance money and bought Burger King sandwiches to pass out to the homeless. And he handed out each meal with a smile. And each time he said, "Don't forget to show love." So after dipping into his allowance to feed the homeless for a few weeks, his story went viral. Burger King heard about it and decided to chip in to help Austin's cause. His cause took on so much that his family established the Show Love Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to fighting homelessness. Isn't that amazing? So this little boy, 4 years old, started this momentum that resulted in a charity that's helping homeless people. It's just incredible. If a 4-year-old can be a hero, every one of us can be.
I think when you're young like that, you're not so jaded, and
Yes.
you have a more positive attitude.
Yes. Yes. Very
You need
true.
to think like kids.
It's true, because when you see people on the side of the road panhandling, a lot of times the first thing you think, are they really in need, or are they just trying to make a quick buck? And I try not to think about that. One of our pastors did a sermon where he talked about, that should not be your first thought. And so I try not to think about that. And if I have, I give. And I just trust, We had a friend that one time our church got robbed, and this was a church we went to years ago. The robbers stole some sound equipment, and the pastor we were friends with at the time, and still are, but haven't seen him in a while. He made the comment, "Well, they must have needed it more than we did." And the rest of us were all like boiling mad. And he said, "They must have needed it more than we did." And so that kind of took the wind out of our sails of anger. And we decided, okay, we need to be more like him and forgiving and understanding. So good for you,
Definitely
Austin.
positive thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one is something that really warms my heart as a pet lover. This is about Jarrett Little and Chris Dixon. They were riding their bikes outside of Columbus, Georgia, when they saw something small moving in the woods ahead of them. And they stopped to investigate, and they discovered the small creature to be a starving puppy with an injured leg, and they knew they had to rescue him. So Little carried the dog on his back more than 7 miles back to town to help get him the help he needed. Andrea Shaw, an attorney visiting from Maine, happened to be nearby when they got into town. The puppy ran straight to her as if she was his owner and was licking her, and at that moment she knew she had to keep him. She named him Columbo after the town, and he now lives he lives the high life on the farm with lots of animals to play with. That's
Aw,
very heartwarming.
it is very heartwarming. That's sweet. And you know what? If anybody's listening and thinking to yourself, that makes him a hero, you bet it does. It makes them, Jared and Chris, heroes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the little things that make a difference. What a difference. You never know. Maybe Columbo saved this lady's life. Maybe she needed that type of affection
Mm-hmm.
and renewed
Yep.
hope or whatever. That's awesome. So Freddie Fuller, who is a cowboy and musician, believes that music has special power. And he sang to her mother in her hospital bed when she was dying of cancer. And it gave him the idea to start musical last wishes. He performs these musical last wishes for other people. Their wishes he grants for terminally ill people through song. And the article noted that in many cases, hearing is the last sense to go for someone who is dying. So they may not be able to see, they may not be able to talk, but they can hear. And so he does these musical last wishes for people who are dying, and it fills their last moments with melody. How incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
touching.
lovely.
It is.
Hmm. There, excuse me. The next one is about Chase Irwin. Soon after Savannah Phillips boarded her plane and sat down, she noticed her seatmate texting rude comments about her weight to someone. That's not nice. Chase Irwin, the man sitting right behind her, could also see the stranger's phone screen. He got up and he demanded the man switch seats with him. Phillips and Irwin spent the rest of the flight chatting, and he encouraged her not to let the comments her first seatmate had made to get to her.
Wow.
That's not a big deal, but it's still heroic. It meant a lot to Savannah, you know.
Well, yeah, and it's like I was saying before in my hot sauce. I mean, not only can our actions impact people in a huge way to their benefit, but also to their detriment, right? And
Mhm.
so this guy, Chase, he might have turned completely around what this other guy did negatively. I mean, when people are suffering from depression and anxiety, and then somebody piles it on by
Mhm.
criticizing them and making them feel bad, a lot of times it leads to even worse situations. And he may have saved her life by giving her the encouragement and support she needed. That's incredible. I love that. And how many times have people done that and nobody knew about it? They're
Mhm.
unsung heroes, you know. So the next one is Trishawn Willis. So Jace Crowder, this little baby, was born with one hand, and he was in kindergarten and his classmates were teasing him, and his mom didn't know what to do to help him, but she saw a video of Trishawn, who was an eighth grader, who was missing his most of his left arm, and he was on the news playing basketball. And she was so moved by that and made arrangements for Trishawn and Jace to meet. And that is what helped Jace grow in his confidence, just by meeting Trishawn. So just meeting him and
Mhm.
seeing how he had overcome only having the one partial arm, Trishawn helped Jace. So
And
that's really cool.
that's one of those good examples of why representation is so important.
Yeah.
People want to complain about people, insisting that there is inclusion of people of different, uh, all different backgrounds. I don't want to get specific. I'd be here listing different types of
Yeah,
people all day,
for
but you
sure.
know what I mean? Like every race and gender and everything, and people, oh, well, if it's in a movie, it's acting and anybody should be able to act like anybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, acting is one thing, but when you have personal experience at being that person or having more in common with that character, you know, or even in books and anything, you know, being able to look at somebody and say, hey, they're like me means so much to people,
Oh, for
you
sure.
know?
Yeah.
And
And parents don't always know, especially when a child is born with certain abilities and inabilities.
mhm,
Parents don't always know how to encourage them and provide the right support. And if they meet somebody, Catherine, our friend Catherine, is a perfect example of that. Her parents were super supportive of her, but treated her just like a normal kid, even though she had osteogenesis imperfecta and broke hundreds of bones throughout her childhood. They said, okay, you can't run a marathon. You can't be a whale trainer, which she always jokes was her desired profession. But you can do other things, figure out what your one thing is. And she talks about her one thing, which she's an incredible artist. And so those are the kind of people that encourage other people. She wrote a book, Catherine wrote a book called Looking Up, because when she's doing her artwork, she lays down. And so looking up is her perspective. Also, from the wheelchair, she's always looking up. So
mhm,
she says that's her constant perspective is looking up. And it's
mhm,
obviously a double meaning there. So wonderful. So wonderful.
mhm. Yeah. Our next one is our next two heroes, actually. This is about two heroes. We don't know their names. They're anonymous. Two anonymous strangers. So this guy, Margarito Martinez, was carefully driving his SUV through flooded streets when a swollen creek grabbed hold of his car, and the car stopped 80 feet away and was wedged into the ground. He got stuck. So he got kind of swept off the road, and he was trapped inside, and the water was coming up around him. He was terrified, I'm sure. He's sure he was going to die. And luckily, these two strangers happened to see this all unfold, and they stepped in to help, and they were able to secure that SUV and break the window open with a rock so that Martinez could escape to dry land.
Wow. Wow. That is terrifying.
I'm sure he thinks of them as his angels. I know I've seen some people step in like that. It's really,
It's just so incredible. Yeah. Wow. Well, here's one I really like. It's another one about the homeless people. And I don't know if people realize this, but there are over 500,000 homeless people around the world or around the country, just in America. And there is one doctor in Boston who is making a difference, Dr. Jim O'Connell and his team. We got to give credit to his crew because they help as well. They're doing something to help with the homeless, and that is that they're spending their days walking around Boston treating the homeless people and helping keep them healthy. And they actually have 700 regular patients that they see in the homeless
that's
community.
wonderful.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, my first thought is, well, he has to work during the week and make money. And then
Mhm,
I right away start trying to be logical about it and
mhm,
worry that he's not taking care of himself. But he obviously knows what he's doing. And he's got a
mhm.
great crew helping him.
That's amazing. And yeah, like you think about, your normal schedule and then going out of your way to help other people in the time you have off when you're already busy. It's impressive. The next one is about a small hero, Preston Sharp, 12 years old. He was left angry after visiting his grandfather's grave and saying that not every veteran in the cemetery had a flag next to their grave, and he decided to do something about it. So he started doing odd jobs so he could save up and buy flags and flowers to place next to every veteran's grave. Once the cemetery where his grandfather was buried was filled with flags, he kept going, and rain or shine, he made sure that he paid respect to every single veteran. I think that is lovely.
That is. Wow. Okay, the next one is a pastor, Reverend Richard Joyner. He realized he had to take action. This is really an interesting one. When he was leading far too many funerals in his small poverty-stricken town. Many people were dying of heart disease due to poor nutrition, and he called on the church youth group to help start a garden to provide the community with fresh fruits and vegetables. And you know what? I was thinking when I read this one, it's so true because if you've ever been watching your diet and trying to eat well, you'll notice that the most expensive things to buy are fresh fruits and vegetables. It's just crazy. And they are what goes bad the quickest too. So if you don't eat it right away, you end up throwing it away. It's sad. So the kids started delivering the fresh food to the people who needed it, and the results were dramatic. Research found that the town's residents lost weight, they lowered their blood pressure, and they visited the emergency room less because of the fresh food they were eating.
Nice.
Isn't that cool? That's a pretty cool story.
I like that. Okay, our next guy is John Meffert. I hope I'm saying that right. Might be Meefert, not sure. After a plane's engine failed, the only place for it to land was on a busy highway. Luckily, John Meffert, or Meefert, I'm not sure, a fire department captain was traveling on that road at the time. And right after the plane crashed, he quickly ran toward the smoke and fire, and he helped the passenger who had escaped to safety, but then went back in and tried to get the captain out of the plane. And he was able to get him out before the plane was engulfed in flames. His quick thinking and good timing helped to save not one, but 2 lives.
That's awesome. You know, I remember years ago watching the videos of the Boston Marathon bombings. And if you recall that, there were 2 bombs that were spaced apart. And I remember we had watched the whole thing, and then Livia and I were watching it again later, and she said she was completely confused because people were running toward the bomb. And she said, why would they do that? Because then some of those people probably got killed when the second bomb blew up. And I said, yeah, but they didn't know there was a second bomb. And it sort of triggered a thing for me where I said, those are the heroes, the people that run toward the danger and not away from it, because they're trying to go help the people who are already suffering.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, look at the 9/11, all the people that went into the building after it got hit.
Oh, for sure.
Those were heroes.
Yeah, if you ever want some good reading and just heart-wrenching, but also heart-moving in a lot of ways, just Google 9/11 survival stories or 9/11 heroes and read some of the stories. I did that one time so that I could write a speech. I wanted to pick one person and write a speech about the one person. And I landed on somebody who led a group of people down a stairway and actually helped carry a lady down that had been injured and couldn't walk. And it was just such an incredible story. And apparently after he got all of those people out that were panicking and got them to safety, he went back in and helped save other people. So it was really a great story. Okay, so the next one is 2 people, Matthew Layton and Brian McGee. They're owners of some rental cabins up in a mountain when they received a call that a mountain was on fire. They had to take on an unlikely role. Not many locals were staying on the mountain. So you got to figure if it's people from out of town or visitors to the area, they don't know their way out, right? So they saved a total of 14 people from the flames. Neither of them were concerned about the property damage that they would face. They just wanted to make sure the families that were there got out safely. So they saved 14 lives.
Wow.
Yeah. That's another just incredible.
Mm. Our next one is three different people. Gary Messina, David Blousfern, I think I'm saying that right, and John Green. Gary Messina was on his morning run when he saw a man jump into New York City's East River. The man was unable to swim and was screaming for help. And as he was bobbing in the water, two other joggers showed up, David Blousfern and John Green, and all three men jumped into the choppy water to rescue him. After keeping him afloat for 15 minutes, a rescue boat finally appeared. If Messina, Blousfern, and Green had not jumped in that day, that man's story would have had a very different ending.
Wow. Kind of makes you wonder why he jumped in, but
Mhm.
you know, he might have jumped in intending to end his life and then decided that he didn't. That wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story. It might have like renewed his hope in humanity.
Mm.
Wow. Okay, so the next one is an old story, but this gentleman was still recognized, and his name was Marvin Strombo, excuse me. While fighting in World War II, he came across the body of a fallen Japanese soldier. Next to him was a flag covered in calligraphy, and he took the flag and displayed it in his Montana home after he returned from the war. But years of passing by it every day, he finally realized how much it would mean for the family of the soldier to have the flag returned. And he discovered the Obon Society, an organization that helps return captured Japanese artifacts, and they were able to locate the man's family. He
Wow.
returned it to the soldier's siblings, and they were so grateful to have something to remember him by since they were never able to locate his body.
Oh, wow.
How cool is
That's
that?
amazing.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
what an unusual organization
mm,
that returns artifacts like that. That's pretty cool.
and that had to have existed back then because for the man's siblings to still be living,
True, true. So I don't know. It doesn't say how
I
long
mean,
ago it
not
happened,
necessarily.
but
Yeah.
I mean, it was from World War II, but then he'd had it in his home for a while. So
Yeah. So
pretty
it
cool.
maybe not right after the war, but within one lifetime after. And
Yeah.
so that was probably before we had all of the technology we have now.
And the moral of the story is it's never too late to be a hero.
That's true. All right. Our next one is another anonymous one, a young and anonymous one. This is after a little 2-year-old boy slipped into a septic tank, gross, and was drowning. The only one that could save him was his 13-year-old neighbor. The opening was too small for any adult to squeeze into, and without hesitation, she sprang into action and was lowered into the hole. And after some struggle, she was able to pull the boy out, and the adults were standing by to get the water out of his lungs.
Wow. I would have been terrified.
Yeah.
Ugh. I would have been terrified
It's-
if I was the little boy, but just as terrified if I was the 13-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, that was extremely brave for her to be willing to do that.
Risk her own life. Yeah.
And not even somebody in her own family.
Oh my goodness. Hmm.
Very brave.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is Carson Zickgraf. After losing a loved one, it's hard to find holiday cheer. After one family lost their son to suicide, they didn't have the strength to decorate at Christmas. Then a stranger, Carson Zickgraf, stepped in to decorate their house with lights. He makes it his mission now to find families affected by suicide and bring them some holiday light. He doesn't know the families he decorates for, and he doesn't ask for anything in return, and he wishes he could do more.
That's lovely.
Isn't that awesome?
Mm,
Mm,
very kind.
way to go,
Our
Carson.
our next one is another one about honoring veterans. Gary Marquardt wanted to find a way to honor veterans who had passed away. And he loved the sound of the trumpet ringing through the cemetery, and he wanted to play, but there was one problem. He didn't know how. It didn't stop him, though. He taught himself to play trumpet, and each night he raises his horn and he plays to honor the veterans.
Oh, that's so simple, but so moving. I
Mhm.
love it. Oh, the next one is Chris Langto. A mudslide had engulfed the town of Aso, I think I'm saying that right, in northern Washington. And after receiving a frantic call from his wife, Chris tried to get home. Unfortunately, the highway had been blocked by the mud and he couldn't get through. So he got out of his car and started running. He didn't make it, but along the way, he saved multiple lives by pulling them out of the mud and getting them to safety. Luckily, when he did finally get home to his house, it wasn't damaged and his family was safe. Chris was recognized by the American Red Cross for his heroics.
Wow.
That's awesome. Now
Mm.
I want to do something heroic, something really cool heroic.
Our next one is a lady hero, Susie Powell. She was on her way to work and she noticed a man slumped over in his car at an intersection. So she called 911 and pulled him out of the car and started doing chest compressions. She saved his life and the man never got to thank her. But months later, he set out to find her and they were able to meet up, and he is eternally grateful for Powell.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Amazing. All right. Emily Temple Wood was 12 years old when she first got trolled online. You're going to love this one, Priscilla. That we've talked about trolls so much, and cheers to Emily for the way she handled it. She believed that she got the hate she got because she was a woman on the internet, 12 years old. I thought that was cute. She knew that misogynists hate productive women. So for every hate comment she got, she posted a biography of a successful woman. What, what a
Yeah.
great idea. She started the Wiki Project, a women scientist, in 2012 and posted biographies of her heroes like Barbara McClintock. Hate comments still come, but this is her productive way to take revenge on the haters.
Nice.
Yay,
Oh, Emily.
Emily, I love that.
She's doing it.
Mhm.
Our last one is Barber Courtney Holmes. He volunteered his time one Saturday during a back to school event and offered to give free haircuts to underprivileged kids in his town. He had a light bulb moment and realized that he should have the kids read a book to him in exchange for a haircut. He continued giving haircuts in exchange for a story every Tuesday for the next 2 years. Holmes helped them learn new words and feel comfortable reading aloud.
Oh, what a double thing. That's a
Mhm.
double benefit, huh? They got the
Mhm.
free haircut, but they also got a
Yeah.
reading
Uh-huh.
lesson. I love that.
Isn't that lovely?
Are you inspired? I'm inspired.
I am. I am. Keep your eyes peeled. An opportunity might come along to be here.
That's right. That's right.
You never
Give up your
know.
seat on the bus or be a hero to somebody.
Mhm.
You know what? Another part of what I was thinking about with my marinade that I didn't mention, and I was thinking about it last night, was that sometimes we don't step up to be heroes because we don't think we can do enough, right?
Mhm.
But but if you do what you can, if everybody did what they could, there would be enough. I don't know if that makes sense, but so for example, if a church needs $500, that's a ridiculous amount, but $500 to fix a roof or whatever, and I can only afford to give $20, so I say, well, I don't have $500, so there's not much I can do. But if I
Mhm.
give my 20 and
Mhm.
all these other people give 20, 30, 40 or more, there's enough. right? So
Mhm.
don't let not being able to do enough stop you from doing what you can.
Mhm. Keep doing small random acts of kindness,
Amen.
or even
Awesome.
not so random.
What is it that you would like us to marinate on this week, Priscilla?
Well, it's a little different from our main topic. But our marinade comes to us by way of a shared Instagram post, so I'm not really sure exactly who it comes from
It
directly.
comes from an anonymous hero who wanted to help you with mindset. That's where it came from.
I think that it comes from Claire Willett. The account is Alice Smith Stan account, but it's her, I think, but her name is Claire Willett, I think. And she had a post. I'm not gonna read the whole post. It's about what her therapist told her, and her therapist told her, "You do not have enough information to panic about that yet." So next time you are panicking because you think something bad's going to happen, tell yourself you do not have enough information to panic about that
Oh,
yet.
wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of an elaboration on mom's don't borrow trouble.
Uh-huh,
You know,
exactly.
I'll never forget when PJ was in the hospital with his burns, when he got burned after the car accident. One of the things that the doctor said, it's not time to panic yet.
Mm.
And he didn't say it exactly like she said it, but it was true. It
Mhm.
had one doctor saying he's in a coma and he's never going to come out of it. But we had this other doctor who kept us together, and he told us, I don't think it's time to panic yet. And it wasn't. And PJ lived a long time after that. So yeah, I love that. It's not, you don't have enough information yet to panic. Is that how it was worded?
Mhm. You don't have enough information to panic about that yet.
There you go.
Save
So
your
when your
energy.
Amazon package is 2 hours late arriving, it's not time to panic, people.
Mm-mm.
Or when your Amazon package hasn't shipped 2 days before the delivery, it's
Mhm.
still not time to panic.
Yeah. Or when Walmart tells you it was delivered,
And it
it
wasn't. It's
wasn't.
still not time to panic.
It might still show up. You don't know. It might come from Amazon.
Ah,
Really confuse you.
it's funny because I feel like my anxiety has increased in a lot of ways about some things, but in other ways, I'm like, "Psh, whatever, it'll show up."
Mhm.
Like I'm anxious about things, but things like that where a package is supposedly delivered and I didn't get it, I'm like, whatever, I'll just submit a claim. Of course, if I need it for something, then it's a little different. If I'm desperately in need, like
That's true.
frames for Liv's exhibit work or whatever.
Mm.
But well, that was fun. We had a
Yep.
good topic today. Next week we're talking about, well, it's May. Next week begins May, and it's National Mental Health Awareness Month, I believe it's called. And so we'll be talking about mental health. We've done some things about that before, but this will be focused specifically on that. And it'd be
Mhm.
interesting to look at that.
Yep. There's some other minor holidays
Oh,
that
there
we
are
celebrate.
you. If you guys Google May observances, you'll get an eyeful. There are so many things,
What's in there?
including uh, National Rescue Dog Day, World Baking Day, Stepmother's Day. Oh, I mean, the list just goes on and on. So check that out when you get a chance. And if you have a topic that you see that you want us to cover, by all means, let us know. We'll be happy to take a stab at it. We
Yeah,
don't have any knowledge about some things, but we know how to research because we're
we do.
ladies at Google.
We are. We Google all over the place.
We love deep dives. So we look forward to talking to you about National Mental Health Awareness Month next week. And until then, make yourself a priority.
And take care of you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.